Right, good evening, guys. I am with Reg Goslin. Introduce yourself. It's not out with me tonight.
That's right. You've had a long day. You've had a long day. You've been volunteering. You've had a long day.
Peas in there.
I'm Reg Goslin from Improving Performance Personal Coaching. I'm a career advance and development practitioner.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tonight, we're going to be talking about being authentic. We've just had a quick chat about what it means to us, but Reg, talk me through what we've just been discussing, so everybody else knows where we're at and what page we're on.
Yeah, okay. Well, what I am is a career advance and development coach, but what I noticed right at the beginning of my journey is that everybody as an individual gets molded, and they have to learn to live. Now they have to learn, because it's a process to live authentically. And what I do is I work with people right at the beginning to understand and talk through that process on an introspective journey, if you like, that results in a newfound awareness or self-confidence and the courage to create the life that they're actually looking for. So what I do is I work with them on that element, and once they've understood who they are and how they are, it's easier for them to adapt and develop as individuals and achieve the things that they want to achieve. And that's why I like to talk about authenticity.
Yeah, and it's like we said earlier, the big thing about being authentic at the moment is the fact that the world is changing and evolving very rapidly into something very different at the moment. So it's very important to hold the strength within yourself.
Yeah, it really, really, really is. And today of all days, when we talked about this a month ago, and I said, you asked me what the topic was going to be, and I said, I want to talk about authenticity. Well, that was a month ago, and the world, 6 weeks ago, the world has changed since then. It's changed beyond the recognition for many, many, many people. So it is even more important now for people to get in touch with who they are and their real self, because they're being asked to do things that are, I hate the phrase outside of the comfort zone, but things that they've never done before, and they're going to have to adapt quickly.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I was talking about this week, I had an interview with Rich Dean about working from home. I mean, that's been a huge one, but I think from our perspective, what we were just talking about was the fact that there's lots of self-help groups opening up at the moment, where you and I were saying everybody's becoming experts within a certain field, and that field that worries me is the mental health side of things, that yes, people are going to suffer massively at the moment. Different environment, being in an enclosed environment, being put together with your family 24/7, where you're not used to it. All these things trigger certain emotions, but I say one of the things that I just, we were just talking about just now was the fact that suddenly we've got mental health experts popping up all over the place, and how dangerous that is.
It's hugely dangerous. Listen, you said it yourself just now. We're in a situation now where there are people, both sides of the spectrum are important, aren't they? So from a family point of view, or a big family point of view, you might have, 5 people in a family, and that 5 people come and go all day in that house. What we're asking now, what the government is asking, what society is asking, is that all 5 of those people stay in that house. And if you stay in that house, after a little while, I'm not saying you're going to get on each other's nerves, but what I'm saying, it's going to be a fractious situation. It's a challenging situation for people to be in that space 24/7. You're asking a lot. And on the other side of the spectrum, you've got people they may be single people, or even if they're not, they could be single or living in a big house. You're dealing with loneliness, you're dealing with job security, you're dealing with health, as we said, mental wellness, you're dealing with job security, you're dealing with finances. Every time you turn on the TV or you read a bulletin, they're dealing with these things, and it's a lot for people. And as you said just now, there's a saying that I've got, because I'm not touching mental wellness, because I think people should personally, I think people should stay in their lane, because that mental wellness is it's a very, very dangerous place to go if you don't know what you're doing. I personally think so. And I know some people that are professionals in that area, and that's absolutely fine. But when I talk to people, I just talk about the positive mindset. I talk about what they can do and what they control, and dealing with what they control at the moment, because the career development and career advancement, which is the role that I do at the moment, is kind of irrelevant at the moment for a lot of people. But the skill that I have and the way that I help people is constant. So I just changed the message. I have to adapt. I have to improvise in my job, and I just want to make sure that I give people the best that I can give them to help them to move on and get through this. But when it comes to mental health and awareness, I tend to move them on and say, listen, I know somebody that can help you with that, as you know.
Yeah, I know. It's like myself. I mean, I suffered an episode of mental crisis a couple of years ago through having a burnout or breakdown. And I just do not consider myself an expert. Yes, I've experienced it. Yes, I can talk from a point of view of my own experience, but that does not make me an expert in any stretch of the imagination. And that's what worries me at the moment, as I say, is I am seeing that where, we've got the mental health sort of trained, the mental health awareness, where they do the training around that. I've seen a couple of those people saying, oh, I'm mentally health trained. You think, no, you're not. You've got an awareness, and an awareness is very, very different to being a trained expert within the field. And like you say, we're coaches, we deal with mindset and positivity and how you can help yourself, but we're not mental health experts. And I'm like you, I would never profess to be an expert in an area that I'm not. And I find it quite frightening watching this at the moment.
I mean, if you go onto such social media, there is a lot, and there's a lot of well-meaning people, and you've got a lot of motivational quotes as well. We see a lot of those as well, and they've got their place as well. I've seen your stuff online. I think it's great stuff. As I've said it to you, I'm not just saying it because we're here. I've had the conversation. It's great stuff, because you're having that conversation from a position of empathy, because you've walked that road. You've had your crisis, so you know exactly what people that you're looking to coach and your clients are. You've known what path they're treading, because you've trodden that path yourself. Doesn't mean you'll tell them what to do, but at least they'll know, do you know what? Sally's been where I am, she gets it. That's what the point is. Very difficult to do that if you're talking about mental well-being. It's a difficult thing to do. I think people should leave it alone, but I don't think people are doing too much. Nobody that I know is in that space. It's just that when you go on to some of the bigger platforms, you see all these posts coming out and you think, I never heard you mention that before this crisis. Now you're talking about it's not a place. And it's good that the television and I think it's the BBC are taking and ITV. I've seen it in the top corner. I saw it on the Anton Deck thing yesterday. So they're talking about. They've got it up in the corner, haven't they? It's talk, and that's as good as a message should be. Talk to people, and that's where it is, because they're processing a lot, aren't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So when you're talking about authenticity, particularly now, what would you recommend then, Reg? What's your take on that?
Well, for me, the take on that is that understanding who you really are, coming from a position of discovering who you really are and understanding who you really are, will help you to understand what you're truly passionate about, I think. Authenticity comes from a position of esteem, so when you're a kid, your parents are bringing you up, and they're telling you what to do and telling you how to behave and treating you the way that they want you to behave, so that you become the person that they want you to be. And that's all right and proper. You're an impressionable child. You have a soft brain and it can take in all of this information,
Yeah.
But as you get older and then you go into, secondary school or whatever you call it, you're getting that input again from teachers, and you're getting that input again from peers. So you end up behaving in ways that doesn't mean it's not true to you, but you're getting that input from other people. So you're behaving in different ways. And then next thing you know, you're an adult and you might be making mistakes that you wouldn't normally make. And it's about trying to accept yourself. And then you go to work and then you've got a job doing, I don't know, anything. You could be an accountant or, a financier, anything like that. But you're working for a company, and then you have to behave in certain ways because you've got yourself qualified to do this job, and they expect you to behave in a certain way. Again, you're being molded into something that you might not be. So what you've got to do, especially now, goodness me, especially now, most of the self-doubts and the critical thoughts that you're having are coming from a place that people have told you, and they put all that fear into you, and you're now living that fear as an individual, and it might not necessarily be you. So when I work with people, and I'm sure you do it as well, you want them to break free from those crippling self-doubts. And at the moment, things like health, things like finances, everybody's worried about the finance. And you know, even though it's hard and you know it's difficult to accept it, that you're coming from a position of fear, the government have said that they've got you. So it's not that you shouldn't worry about it, but you cannot concern yourself with things that you can't affect. Your house is not going to be repossessed. You're not going to be thrown out of your rented accommodation. Do you see what I mean? And it's just accepted.
Yeah, it is. It's like you say, because people always say to me, aren't you worried? Doesn't it worry you? How do you sleep? And I'm like you, I always say, what I can't affect and I can't change, I can't worry about. There is just no point. You know, we would spend, at the moment in particular, we wouldn't sleep at all. There is so much going on. But like you say, it's like having that acceptance that actually somebody is holding the safety net for you, that if you fall, it'll catch you. So at the moment, you know, things aren't going to happen. They're certainly not going to happen instantly. And whilst we come out of this, there's going to be a whole lot of understanding around it. And I think the other thing people need to draw comfort from at the moment is that so many people are in the same boat. You know, everybody will, you know, be holding each other, which I am seeing a lot at the moment. You know, it's, you know, there are that element that are pulling together, which is absolutely amazing.
You know what, you're dead right. And listen, a lot of people don't get it because they've come from that position. And it's been drilled into them that you have to save for a rainy day, you have to do this, you have to do that. And because they didn't, they're panicking, etc. Yeah, we're all in this together. You know, I don't want to go into the detail of what's happening, but somebody from the royal family and the prime minister. Yeah. No one's immune from this, but if we all get together, what you're not seeing is all the stories of people that have had this situation and they're better. Yeah, they're better. They've recovered. There's more. Listen, you can't have all of those cases that they've said that they've had, and they've all got better, but we're not publicising that. So it can happen. But Brad said so. Brad Burton from the Full Networking is the guy that runs the Full Network, as you know. Yeah, I took a statement away from him. I don't know why I'm talking to you like you don't know him.
Well, mentors me.
He's one of your mentors, that's right. But do you know what? He's got a statement, and I took it away, and I've used it. And I'm sorry, Brad, I've taken it. I'm sorry, it's mine now. But the phrase is, "What does this situation make possible for you?"
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
absolutely. That. Sit back.
Nothing's broken forever, because that was one he used back in February, and that was about one of his ornaments got broken. And Chris Dawes, another one of the guys in the mentoring group, he fixed it for him, and then he broke it and fixed it again, and he was saying nothing's broken forever. So sorry, that's what I thought you were going to say.
No, see, he's got lots of Bradisms. That's probably why. But that was another one. But it is. But as what should we call ourselves today? As intervention specialists, people that help people. As intervention specialists, we have a obligation to help people to see that this can get better. It will get better if we all stick together. It can get better, and the situation is such. Right, so we know where we are. You can't control this much. You need to think about yourself. Who are you? What is it that you want? What can you do? What can you do for yourself? What can you do for your family? What positives can you take out of this? So, I'm doing a thing tomorrow. I'm boring you with that now, but it's about saying, okay, I've never worked from home before. I had to work from home. Yeah. So what does that mean? That newfound freedom for us, it's normal, but for some people, that newfound freedom means that they don't have the structure that they normally have when they go to work. And that freedom can become a pain for people that are working from home, especially if you've got little ones in the house as well. And you're not used to working with little ones in the house, or family members that are going to play their music whilst you're trying to do a conference call. And it's going to bring a lot of things that you have to adapt to. I think it was a film last week. I saw it, hadn't seen it for years. And with Clint Eastwood, Heartbreak Ridge was on. That was it. And his name is Gunny Tom Highway, and he's got a phrase: assess the situation, improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's such good advice at the moment. It really is.
It is. Improvise. Assess the situation. Don't act on emotion. Emotion will help you make bad decisions if you act on emotion. So try to be rational. It's easy to tell someone to try to be rational. But as I said about being authentic, ask yourself, you can't lie to yourself. So be real to yourself and ask yourself the question. Will this, what I'm going to do now, make the boat go faster?
Yeah. It's like we've had it here already. I mean, as you say, we're used to working at home. I'm used to working at home. My daughter's normally at uni. She's not used to working at home. And we very quickly had to set boundaries in place because it was a case of I'd be working and she came upstairs and was just chatting away to me. It was like, no, I'm actually working here. So I had to say, right, okay, we need to draw a line here. And actually she has to do Zoom calls and things herself now with uni because that's how they're having to work. So she set up office downstairs, I'm upstairs. And I actually got told off the other day for going to make a drink because she was on a Zoom call. It was like, where has this come from? This is usually the other way around. I thought, gosh, this is just showing you how much life is already evolving, how much it's changing. And your 19-year-old daughter tells you off because they're on a call.
It is. I get that one. It happens. I'm lucky here because it's just me and my wife, my kids. We moved out. They moved out a few years ago. So, but the thing is, I've got the space to do that. But not everybody has that. And what we're trying to do is help them to come to come to terms with that, because not everybody's a home worker. Remember, not everybody's a home worker. Some people have been told to go home. I know of from people that I know people that run salons, hairdressers, anything that involves events. I feel sorry for these people in the events situation because they can't put on the events. My wife herself is in the hotel industry, can't go to work because the hotel was closed. You see, so what do these people do at home? And this is what I'm saying. They've got time to sit back and think about, right, take the time to think about who you really, really are. What does this make possible for you? What are those little hobbies, for instance, that you've always wanted to do that you've never had time to do? Because there's another line that I'm going to use during the week. There are two athletes, You've got Usain Bolt, Usain Bolt, who everybody knows is fast as lightning, and you've got Sir Mo Farah, Everybody thinks, Usain Bolt. You do not want to be Usain Bolt in this situation in terms of the way that you behave, because you need to deal with this as the long haul. Because if you do things too fast, like Usain Bolt, and you want to do everything at 100 miles an hour, you are effectively going to burn out before this situation gets any longer. So take your time, and then take the time to do things within your house, within your home, within your garden that I've not got time to do that because.
I use a similar sort of analogy, but it's usually normally not in this scenario, but it's about the person that is a knower. They will rush to find an answer very, very quickly. So they want to find a solution really, really quickly. Whereas somebody who is curious is courageous, because they will go and dig deep into what they want to do. And I think that, like you're saying at the moment, that's what people need to be, is curious about themselves. Have the courage to actually find a little bit about themselves. Is there something different you could do? Do you like reading? Can you improve your mindset in some way? I mean, I know that's sort of our scenario, but it doesn't even have to be that. I noticed one of my friends the other day suddenly started cooking and baking. She's never done it before, but it's finding new skills. So to me, it's about being courageous, about digging into yourself, digging a little bit deeper into yourself and who you are. Yeah,
I totally agree, because we touched on it right at the beginning as well. There's esteem things as well, and some of the fears that people are going to have is based on that. Loneliness is going to be one as well. So it's just a matter of helping them be real, pick the phone up. Don't worry about, I don't want to ring them, I don't want to disturb them. They ain't going anywhere, ring them up.
One of my friends did to me yesterday, we weren't even dressed, and she FaceTimed. And it was just like, you just got to take us as we are, you want to chat.
We're all in the same boat. That's why I have not spoken. I've spoken to more family in 1 week than I have in 6 months.
My family have joined the house party app. And
wow.
My daughter said to me, Steve, none of us ever talk that much. We talk on the phone generally, a fair bit, but not actually interact together that much, because they're north or away. So,
Yeah, I understand. So in terms of your skill set and where you actually occupy, what are you finding with the people when you're working with them with regards to confidence?
I'm finding like you that it's this whole very strange scenario and having to adapt. It is the working from home. A lot of it is to do around children and things that you having to sort of suddenly be a teacher as well as, you know, manage the job. I mean, a couple of people that I actually am involved with actually have a small child at home, but they've both, one works for the NHS and the other one is in the pharmaceutical industry, so that they're both working from home, but they've got this little boy who's, you know, not even 2. So it's having to manage that time between them, and there's nothing they can do about it. So it's been a real struggle in respect of, you know, not getting uptight, keeping calm, you know, giving each other space, giving each other time. So I'm sort of seeing that sort of side of things as well. So it's, you know, and it's learning to manage your own sort of chimp. I mean, we're both big fans of the chimp paradox, I know we are. And it's understanding that inner chimp, so that little bit of emotion, that little gremlin that sits on your shoulder doesn't keep raising its head, that you actually now have to manage your whole situation and you know the way you view things, and get that logical or human side working with that little chimp, so that you don't start rearing at each other.
Yeah, listen, absolutely. And we said it just now, didn't we? And especially in certain situations that you've not been in before, they're going to be unique situations. You could have been married for 10 years. You could have been with a partner, a husband, whatever, for 10 years. But you've never been in that situation where you're locked down for that person for that amount of time, because just the way they grow their hair is going to annoy you.
One of my clients actually said that this will be a real test on their marriage, because they have never been in this situation where they've been, I mean, she's had to be in isolation and he's literally just come in, you know, just being told, you know, like everybody else in the week, work from home. And so they have both said, this is going to really test our marriage. So
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's it. And again, that's about being real enough. She accepts that. She's understood that that is a possibility. So she can then adapt and improvise to make sure that even though it's a test, she doesn't want the test to fail, does she?
No, absolutely. I mean, they're both company directors, so they're very, very strong people in respect of, you know, used to managing, you know, sort of a lot of people between them. So now having to just manage each other is going to be quite bizarre, I think. So it's going to be,
it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Oh yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But yeah, I think from my own point of view, as I said at the beginning, I had to change the model that I have, because I mistakenly made the decision to do a lot of my coaching face to face. So it's not harder, but it's more of a challenge now to pull it back and turn it back to online. And people get that because it has to be online. But it's a different skill set, because coaching online and coaching face to face is 2 different types of behavior for an individual. So whilst it's not easier, it's a different way of doing it. And I do some online, so it isn't an issue, but I've had to change my model, and I've had to change my direction in terms of career and career development. People still got jobs to do, and they still got careers that they want to advance. But I think in terms of the national efforts, I think, for want of a better phrase, I wanted to extend, not necessarily for monetary gain, but extend my experience and my skill set to help people outside of that specific area that I work on, to help them, hence the conversation we were having before the call about mental health. So I've got numbers to pass people on to, and I'm sure that you've got numbers to pass people on to rather than do it yourself. But I would never recommend that somebody step into those shoes themselves. Stay in their lane.
Yeah, absolutely. I say, I mean, I'm like you. I mean, I've had a couple of clients who are now putting things on hold because business isn't quite what it was, and you know, they're having to evolve and adapt themselves. But I'm like you. I mean, I've already started my online strategy and things before this kicked in, and I kind of think, if I suddenly become this person who has foresight to be able to do this, I think it was more luck than judgment, I think. But it's you know, it's interesting how we are, you know, ourselves, where we will be at the end of this as well, in respect of, as you say, it's learning online strategies, it's learning. I know myself every day learning about a different online tool as well. So I think I'm seeing it myself as like a growth period as well. It's growing and learning myself. So you know, I'm taking the time. I had done some of my NLP. I'm now about to do my, you know, NLP master through an online scenario, purely because I thought, well, I've got some time, because like you, I can't go anywhere. We can't go anywhere, so I might as well make use of these 24 hours somehow.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm going to take the opportunity to CPD myself, for want of a better phrase, because, like I said, what will it make possible? All the things that I've not had time to do. There's lots of people out there that are, I promise you, they are crying out for your help or your voice to just tell them that everything's going to be all right. That's all they want to hear. Everything's going to be all right, because a lot of people out there are quite sensitive. They're quite sensitive to change. They don't like change. We are not an isolation race. We don't like isolation. And conversely, we are also a very social race in the United Kingdom, where everything revolves around going to the pub, to the bar, to have a drink. The drink itself is a vehicle rather than a need. It's the social interaction that people need. So if you take that away, which has done, and you told them to isolate or not go anywhere, we need to tell them everything's going to be okay. We need to show them that we're all still here. Tools like Zoom. I think the company Zoom, even though they're not getting that much money, their brand has gone through the roof, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, everybody knows about Zoom. Now, I know the gym that I used to go, well, still go to basically, everything that's switched to Zoom. We have Zoom sessions. I've got my first one tomorrow night. So, and I know it's going to be really funny to start with, but we've all got to get used to it.
That's exactly right. It's the new realism, isn't it? It's the new reality, and we all need to adapt to the new reality. And once you've done that, it makes it not easier, but it's easier if you adapt and you accept and you embrace the changes that are coming. I don't know what's going around the corner. Who the hell am I? But I'm ready for it, because I have to improvise, I have to adapt, and I have to overcome, because if I don't, I'm not going to eat.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a very, very good point. So come on then, what's your tip that you'd give everybody tonight?
Oh, the tip that I'd give everybody tonight. Okay, I would say to each individual out there, tomorrow, do one thing that some of you may have already done it, but do one thing tomorrow, everybody. Pick the telephone up, or the WhatsApp, or whatever it is, and I want you to contact or text or video somebody that you haven't spoken to through all of this situation. Pick the phone up and speak to that person. Because guess what's going to happen?
As well. I think that's a really good one.
Yeah, guess what's going to happen when you do that? You're going to lift that person, because they're like, oh, wow, I haven't spoken to you for ages. Like I said, what is this going to make possible? So I'd make that phone call to somebody that you've not spoken to throughout this whole situation. That's my tip. Try that.
Yeah, my friend will probably fall off a chair.
There you go, see, but you've then opened up another dialogue and another conversation. It's true. I'm going to do it tomorrow as well. Brilliant.
Where can people find you then, Reg?
Where can people find me? You can find me you can find me online on Facebook as Reg Goslin, or as Improving Performance Personal Coaching. You can find me on www.improvingperformance.co.uk. And just put Reg Goslin into YouTube, and you'll find all of my videos and all of my stuff there. So the content is spread out, and on LinkedIn you can find me just as Reg Goslin. Even though there is a business page, I engage more with Reg.Goslin.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for tonight. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. Thank you very much.
Really good.
I appreciate it.
So thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Stay safe.